Ooh. All right. Ought to be live here. We'll just give it a sec. Make sure. And if it's anything like last time, it's going to take like 60 fucking seconds in order to figure this out. There we go. Not too bad. Not too bad. All right. So I'm going to talk about a number of different things. I think the first question I had on there was, is Trump our guy? And I think, the obvious answer to that is no. Obviously not. No. Um, that's the short answer. So I guess the longer answer is still no, but maybe things won't be so bad. Um, it's looking like they're going to be fucking terrible. I'm just going to let you know right now. But you never know. You don't know how things are going to go. We want to see who he's going to put in the cabinet and what he does. But um, so far, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. So the reason I posed that question is mainly because there was a bunch of people on Twitter, a bunch of MAGA people on Twitter. They were actually giving me some hope because they were having a bit of a meltdown about Trump's cabinet, which gave me some hope. I was like, oh, fuck, this might not be so bad. And there was at least one day where I was like, well, shit, this might not be the worst thing ever. Because they were freaking the fuck out and saying Trump's gonna pack his cabinet full of a bunch of neocon warmongers. It's gonna be worse than the first time. Oh my god, what's he doing? He's gonna go fucking destroy Iran because they tried to murder him. And I was like, oh fuck, this could be pretty good. I don't think any of that's happening. Well, the Iran thing, I don't know. I have no fucking. He's gonna do something to them because of that. Because Iran tried to have him and John Bolton and Pompeo all killed. He has to do something. Like, you can't do nothing when it comes to that. That's an act of war. Okay, you try to kill a former president, someone who's running, very likely. I don't know when they sent out the order, but he was still always likely to be the next nominee, candidate for president, and the next president. And even just a former president, even just American citizens in general, they're trying to assassinate. That's an act of war, right? I mean, it's got to be. I don't think he's going to go to war with them. I'd be shocked if he actually did that. But I do expect some kind of massive retaliation. So we do have that to look forward to. If nothing else, I do believe if he doesn't do anything to Iran, or if it's something really light and tepid, and it's just like more sanctions or something stupid like that, I'll be very, very disappointed and kind of surprised too. Kind of surprised. I expect them to do something massive to them. Maybe not full scale, like destroy them, but something else, something in between. So back to the cabinet picks. Part of the things they were freaking out about was there was names being floated about, which honestly weren't too bad. They were looking good. Unfortunately, none of the people that they were freaking out about, the MAGA people, were freaking out about, are going to be in the cabinet. We basically don't have any idea, at least on any of the important positions, like the Attorney General and Defense Secretary, Secretary of State, Homeland Security, any of that stuff. We know the Chief of Staff. We do know that. So I'll get to her in a second. Well, no, I'll just pop her up now. Why not? She's the only one we know. Might as well throw up here. I don't know. Have they announced any others? I haven't seen any yet. This is the only one I've seen. Maybe there's some other like less important people that we don't care about and nobody cares about who got announced. But so far, I think it's just this lady, Susie Wiles, and I guess she seems fine. I don't know. Everyone seems to respect her, even on like both sides of the aisle. She should be an easy confirmation and everything. Her big thing. Oh, this was dumb. Her big thing. I remember seeing this in whatever news snippet was. Well, I'll agree to do it, Donald. I'll agree to be your chief of staff. My one my one request, or the one thing I demand in order to do the job, is that the clown car cannot just enter into the Oval Office whenever it wants, and you can't just bring all of these people in. Because I don't know if you read anything about the first Trump administration or saw it on the news and stuff. they would be having meetings and shit, and like, you know, they'd be going to have a meeting with Trump, like scheduled, and just walk in there, and you know, it's just like Kanye West and My Pillow guy hanging around. It's just like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, we're about to have a, you know, something really important just happened. This matter of like national security. What are you doing? Like, who are these people? Now she said that, but kind of the ridiculous thing to that is the clown car's already there, lady. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, it's not a clown car. It's like a, it's like the clowns are renting it out, like renting out the White House. If they're all over the place, like you've got Elon Musk running around with them, Tulsi Gabbard, Matt Gaetz, like all these fucking weirdos. So I don't know what the hell she's talking about. Like the clowns have taken over. They've taken over the building. Okay. So, and that's another thing where it kind of makes me pessimistic about what this administration is going to look like, is because of all these fucking people he's running around with. He's basically just listening to his two kids, Don and Eric, and like Tulsi and RFK. I forgot about him. That guy's probably the wackiest one of them all. RFK is in there. Elon, just all these fucking, this collection of freaks, this total freak show. Matt Gaetz, all of them in there. And Charlie Kirk for some fucking reason. And they're helping, you know, fill out his cabinet. These are the people doing it. And I just don't know who the fuck they could get. So we've already ruled out some of the better options like Pompeo and Nikki Haley. Basically, people just hate them. And, you know, MAGA people, I mean, hate them. And so Trump's not going to pick him. Haley was never on the table. He was pissed at her. Probably still is. Pompeo, I don't think he was that mad at it. It just seems like, even though Pompeo said some shit about his classified documents case and that he shouldn't have been doing that or whatever, maybe he is mad at him. I don't know. I didn't think he was. I know his supporters hate Pompeo, so I feel like that's more the reason. And who else? Tom Cotton. That would have been a surprise. He's very hawkish. And basically, from what I understand, Tom Cotton just said, I don't want it. I've heard people say he wants to stick around in the Senate and try and move up the ladder in there, move up the ranks there. Obviously not majority leader. We can talk about that in a minute. But he just said, I don't want it. And I don't blame him. Like, why would you? The odds of you coming out on top after being in this administration, if you paid attention to the last one, they're not good. Like, everyone that was in that last administration came out hating Trump, or Trump hates them, or all the supporters hate him, it like ruin their careers, or at the very least it was just like they had to resign, and it was frustrating, and you know, it was an awful experience for many of these people. So I wouldn't blame any serious person who's like, look, it's 4 years, I'm already an upper level guy, I'm looking like I'm on track to be in the leadership in the Senate. Why the fuck would I throw that away to gamble on this? We have no idea how this is going to turn out. And there's a good chance it could be a total shit show. So I don't think a lot of serious people that already have good prospects are going to want to sign up for this. Why the fuck would you? Like, I don't know. And when you're looking at the foreign policy type people, like people for state and defense, who's going to want to join this that would be in line with Trump? Like, where is he going to go to get the people that do what he wants to do for defense, that aren't going to piss off his supporters, that they're not going to call a neocon warmonger? Like, where are you going to find these people? It's going to be, they're going to be people that are so unexperienced that it's like questionable even putting them in there. Like, are they going to get confirmed? You know, if they lack all the foreign policy experience, because if you're looking back to other Republican administrations and picking people out of those, which is typically what you would be doing, right? You'd be picking out kind of the more junior guys that worked in those administrations that are now kind of older and more senior and maybe been doing other things. Like, who would he go to? I mean, the last two Republicans before him were Bush, and he can't go back to his old guys because none of them are around, and his supporters hate them all. So I don't know. I don't know where he's going to go. That's what kind of made me worried about like Tulsi, even though I don't think that would happen. I do not think a Republican-controlled Senate would confirm Tulsi Gabbard for the defense secretary. I just can't. I can't imagine that. She's only been like not a Democrat for like 5 fucking minutes. It would be unimaginable to me. You do have people like Marco Rubio. They're talking about him for Secretary of State. I could see that. Marco's not bad, but he's not like great either. He's okay. So I don't know. I don't know what this is going to look like. I have a feeling it's going to look like a total fucking freak show of people. I did hear someone say that other guy, Mike Rogers, the guy who like tried to beat the shit out of Matt Gaetz on the House floor during the speaker fights, the speaker wars with Kevin McCarthy. Apparently he's being considered, and I've heard people say that, you know, he's being considered for Secretary of Defense, and I don't know. I've heard people say that he was pretty good on Ukraine, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. I know right now from what I hear in the news, it's just a total, like, I don't know, like, all around Mar-a-Lago, there's just all these people showing up, trying to have meetings with him and talk to him to get, you know, into the administration or whatever. And apparently Elon Musk and like RFK and all these people that are with him are just sitting around rejecting all of the people that have experience, and, you know, that basically his supporters, the MAGA guys, his base, fucking hate. And so I don't know where they're going to go. Should be interesting to see. What else did I have on here? Reactions to the election. Well, first I'll talk about the, I guess the Senate thing. That could be interesting. If the kind of normie conservatives keep control of the Senate, because Mitch McConnell's leaving, someone's going to be the new majority leader. And it's looking like it's going to be one of these two guys who were, a lot of people are calling them anti-Trump, but that's more the MAGA people. They were just kind of like McConnell. They came up under him. They're more normal. They have spoken out against him. They're not total sycophants that will do whatever he wants. That's basically what they mean by anti-Trump. They're really not. They'll work with him. There's not going to, if he wants to do something fucking crazy, they're not going to go along with it. So hopefully one of those guys gets in. I think Thune is the one I think they really hate. So I hope it's him. That would just be really funny. And then there's, I guess there's that other guy, Scott. He's Rick Scott. They want him in. He's like the MAGA dude that's being considered. I don't know. The way it is shaping up, seems like they're going to go with Thune or John Cornyn, just because they're doing like a secret election. So like the public's not going to know who the fuck anybody voted for. So why would you, like, you don't have to worry about Trump coming after you, unless he just decides he wants to come after all of the senators that didn't publicly say who they voted for. Maybe he would. I could see him doing that. That would be dumb, though. But if that happens, you could end up with this weird situation where the Republican Senate is fighting with the Republican executive branch. That'd be kind of funny. And the reactions to the election. So I've talked about that before, and yeah, I was right. Like, everyone's doing pretty much exactly what I thought. The right wing has gotten extremely carried away. The MAGA people have they have gone off their fucking rockers, just blowing, you know, huffing their own farts like crazy. It's unbelievable. Some of the things these people are saying, they're saying this is like the greatest win in history. Now, I'll give them that it's the greatest political comeback, at least in our life, in modern history, for sure. I can't think of anything that would beat it as a comeback, but, you know, that's not saying a lot. A comeback implies that you failed and then showed back up again and rose back to the same height. One of the only things I can think of some like people from like the 1800s that are kind of like that, like Sam Houston. He's a figure in Texas history, kind of had something like that. It was very different. I won't go way into fucking obscure history, but I'll say, you know, it's one of the biggest political comebacks in history. Not one of the biggest victories, though. I don't know where they got that fucking idea. This massive, overwhelming victory. He didn't get as many votes as Joe Biden did last time. So, like, he got like about the same amount of votes that he got last time. I think before I had said he got less. That's not true. I think he got a slightly more, actually, but it's about the same. About the same. He didn't get 81 million like Joe Biden did. And I think he got the same states. I don't know. Let me look this up. Did he, let's see here. 20. No, I won't bother looking this up right now. But I think he got basically the same amount. Am I right? Like they just flipped the states over from last time. So it's not like a bigger electoral college victory than anything. I think it's the fact that they won the popular vote, which they, I guess, thought was impossible for a Republican. But as I've said before, historically, it's pretty rare that people win elections without winning the popular vote. It doesn't happen that often. It's just in recent history. It's happened a couple of times for Republicans. I guess 3 times, I suppose, in the past few decades. So it seems like it's this crazy thing for a Republican to win the popular vote. But literally the guy who came right before Trump did, the last Republican to win, won the popular vote. So I don't know. It's not like that wild of a fucking thing. They need to chill the fuck out because they're saying some stupid shit right now and making some wild fucking conclusions about the direction the country's going in and why they won. They have, I think, a total misunderstanding of what actually happened here, especially with the popular vote. That's just because the Democrats didn't vote again in the same numbers. Like, they must understand that. That it's literally just that less Democrats voted. He got about the same amount of votes. And so when they get these takeaways like, oh God, everybody fucking loves every aspect of our agenda, that's not true. Sorry. The other thing they've been going around saying is this is like the death of the woke progressive stuff. That's fucking ridiculous. Absolutely not. Those people did not go away. They didn't lose control of like Hollywood and the education system and all this other shit where they've been pushing that stuff. If anything, it's just going to be worse after this. But we'll see. I don't know. I'll give you an example of the kind of thing I'm talking about. This one came to mind just because it was so obvious. Like it's less obvious when they just say something like, we had a huge historic win. It's like, okay, it was a historic win. That's true. It was big compared to kind of what we thought it might be, but it wasn't bigger than like what Joe Biden won by. So let me go look at the this little clip I got of this dunderhead. I don't know. Are you? Oh God, why is this playing this? Pause it. All right. Jesus, I'm having a hard time working the YouTube Shorts here. So, can I make this full screen? I guess I can. Just make sure here. All right, so I got a clip from Brett Cooper. You guys know who that is? It's the girl who works for the Daily Wire. I think she's like the only one. One of the hosts over there. She's the young girl, sort of looks like Ben Shapiro. I guess she's not related to him, apparently. I thought it was like his niece or something. I had no idea that they were like, they're not even related, but they look very similar. Anyway, this girl, I found this clip where she said something. Every now and then you run across something and you're just like, as soon as you see it, you're like, well, that's not fucking true. Like, obviously that's not fucking true. And I would have had to look it up anyway. Like, it always catches me off guard. I'm like, whoa, what? It's stuff like that that'll make me go like look up the stat just to make sure I'm not off my fucking rocker. This is what she said here. Let me see if I can put this on. Okay. Is that showing up there? So it's a YouTube short, so it won't take very long.
It is so funny to me that there's so many men on here that are making videos, that are texting their girlfriends, and they're saying, I'm so sorry that the men of this country did this to you. Like, I'm sorry, did we just brush over the fact that women, the majority of women in America, voted for Trump? So no, it was not just men or the evil patriarchy that did this to you. It was your friends, your girlfriends, your aunts, your sisters, your moms, women who are concerned about the direction that this country is going in. Women that don't want to worry about grocery prices anymore. Women who want to be able to buy their kids food without worrying what they're being poisoned by. Women that are tired of being gaslit and pressured by Big Pharma. Women that are tired of worrying about war overseas, wondering if their loved ones will end up being deployed or even worse, drafted. Those are the women that carried this election. It is so funny.
Okay. So, there's a little bit of an obvious problem, I think, with that. Trump did not win the majority of women. Kamala Harris did by like 7 points. And that was an underperformance from what they would have thought. And it's probably, due to a lower turnout. But in any case, she won a decisive, amount of the women. Like, it wasn't particularly close how much she won them by. So I whenever I see stuff like that, I always want to ask those people, like, if that stat you just cited there wasn't true, if the reverse of it was true, would you change all of your other arguments to the opposite of what you were saying? Like, would you go back and say, well, okay, the women actually aren't concerned with the price of gas and, the fact that there might be a foreign war or something like that? Never would they change it. They'd say, oh, well, no, maybe it wasn't that many, but they'd focus on the fact that it should have been like 10 or 14% of them or something like that. And I'm guessing where she got this from, because it was such a bizarre thing to hear, is that the majority of white women voted for Donald Trump. That's true. But not an absolute majority of women. That's just a silly, ridiculous notion. And what's even worse is she has to know that at this point. She's left that clip up there just for eternity. And she works for a huge, like, conservative media outlet. Someone must have pointed out to her, like, hey, that's not true. That's obviously not true. And people in the comments were all saying that, her own fans. Not taking it down, not like changing the title or anything. I don't know. Maybe she issued a correction somewhere and just decided to leave the little video up. But stuff like that annoys me. Stuff like that, where it's just such obvious horseshit. And it's not just, I'm not just picking on her in particular or the right wing. The left wing does it too. Lots of people do it. That kind of shit just fucking annoys me. It was like I had a similar argument with someone like this. It was about, how Ron DeSantis handled COVID in Florida. And then they said something to me about, like, the population size of, what was it? I think we were arguing about, like, it was between New York and Florida. And I was saying, Ron DeSantis did a good job there. If you look at, like, Florida, I think he had slightly less, but it was basically about the same amount of deaths as New York did or whatever. And he was like, oh, well, that's because the population of New York is so much larger. Which, you think about that for a fucking second. Like, you would think you would go look that up and you'd realize the opposite was fucking true. He had it backwards. And so you would think, like, well, are you going to reverse all your fucking arguments now that I've just explained to you that was the reverse of what you were fucking saying? And no, the answer is never that. It's never fucking that. Anyway, I've got a lot of that off my fucking chest now. What else did I have on here? I guess that's mostly it. Let me see what you got here. Where am I? Where's it? Oh, there we go. If I were a Democrat, if I were the Democrats, I would want to win in 2028. They need Bill Clinton 2.0 candidate. Yeah, something like that might be good. Yeah, she's always, like, from the times I normally see her, it's always stuff like that. I usually only see her in the shorts because I don't, like, go see her show, but I've seen her in, like, these little YouTube shorts before. I've seen a lot of the Daily Wire people in those. I think that's just I don't know. They really push their shit, like, pump it the fuck out there with the shorts, the videos, and now they're doing movies. It's just, God, those people are just dumping out content. And a lot of her shit always seems to be these kind of, like, dunderheaded, like, kind of things like that. It'd be talking about like pop culture stuff and like things I don't give a fuck about. Lies even worse than mainstream. Yeah, yeah. If that was mainstream media, they would have issued a correction and taken it down. Like they never would have made a mistake like that in the first fucking. You would have to be. I mean, they make mistakes, massive mistakes. So I don't want to like give them too much room. But that's just such a. It's not just that that's. It's not that massive of a mistake, in that it doesn't really matter that much. It's kind of a stupid mistake. They tend not to make mistakes that are so obvious and dumb like that. That like anybody who remotely like this is her whole fucking job, right? She's a political commentator. Like how the fuck could you even like utter that sentence without thinking like, oh, this is crazy. I should probably double check this. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I think Israel will be all right. Taiwan, I actually think will be all right too. Because these people, a lot of them are hawkish on China. A lot of them will say we need to refocus to Asia, which I don't disagree with that. I just don't think that it's not a, one or the other thing. Whenever they say China is a bigger threat than Russia, that's just true. Uh, the one like kind of good thing about this is uh, what they're going to probably try and do is sort of do a transitional period from us to the Europeans to get the Europeans to support Ukraine. I imagine that's what they're going to try and do. So it's not like the worst thing in the world if the Europeans can do it. That's the question. A lot of them have been sort of ramping up their military spending, so we'll see. I'm not sure. I'd prefer not to just abandon them, but it's not the end of the fucking world. If that's what their plan is. If their plan is just we're just going to yoink everything all at once, then they could be totally fucked. But yeah, that's really all I got. Let's see what. Yeah, I did the reactions, cabinet picks, all that shit. So, and the Democrats, I didn't get to them. Their reaction to this has been like I've been saying before. It's just like let's just be crazier and further left wing and all this shit. Something else I think the right wing guys should probably take away from it is the fact that a lot of this was that those whenever they're saying this is the end of the woke stuff, definitely not. And if the woke people had turned out, actually, a big part of the reason they might have lost actually is because a bunch of like woke terrorist supporting people didn't want to vote for the Biden Harris administration for either of them because of their tepid, like halfway, half-assed support of Israel. They were mad about that. It's what you got to remember. And if those people see what Trump does when he comes in, they will probably lose their fucking minds and decide, okay, well, we've got to vote for the Democrats or whatever. And I feel like they're going to come back in the midterms. Historically, that's been happening. One party will win. They'll win, House and the Senate as well. And then the midterms come around and they both get flipped back. The last time that didn't really happen. So I feel like that sets up a kind of it's an even worse sign for the Republicans. The fact that they didn't get that last time, their big midterm comeback, which is what you would think. Usually you get that. And they did. I mean, they flipped the House, but that had more to do with like the restructuring of kind of the census came in. So they got the census data in and they switched around all of the congressional seats between the states, and the states get to redraw their congressional districts. And so it benefits them. And so it was kind of structurally built in to benefit the Republicans because of the way the population shifted. So they were always going to get the House back, but they barely got it back. They were supposed to have, I don't know if you remember, the big red wave never fucking happened. I do think, I don't want to, get way ahead, but it seems like they've got potential to come back in a huge fucking way. Especially given how high on their own fucking supply the MAGA people are right now. I feel like they're going to do a lot of stupid shit. We'll see, though. We'll see. You never know. See how it goes. Yeah, and they're just way too early to even talk about 2028. Everyone's already talking about 2028. It's ridiculous. We haven't even installed the guy from the last election yet. Like, chill the fuck out, people. They're all talking about, oh, it's Gavin Newsom's going to be the guy. And, maybe. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Vance for the Republicans, which really sucks. That was the first signal of this administration was just going to suck no matter what. It was like, oh, well, maybe it won't be so bad. Maybe it'll be like he'll get the old boys back together, which was obviously not going to happen. They all fucking hate him. So none of the old crews coming back. In certain ways, it might have just been better if he had won in 2020. He would have had to deal with the political fallout of his own actions. You wouldn't have JD Vance as the VP. It would still be Pence, who's, whatever you think about him, he's not as bad as JD Vance. Doesn't get much worse than Vance. Yeah, I wouldn't hold out hopes for that. You never know. Maybe they'll learn their lesson and reform based on what I've seen online and in the mainstream news. So this isn't just crazy Twitter people, not just crazy Twitter people. It's the people on CNN, the people on MSNBC, all these people, the politicians, the actual politicians in the party, the Democratic Party, are all basically saying this was a messaging issue. We just didn't explain to people well enough. Now, I kind of understand why they feel that way, because they're looking at it like probably the biggest factor was the inflation, right? It's probably why they lost. And they're trying to say, well, this wasn't so much our fault. And it was, I think that they're right that it's Trump's fault too. And that this was happening everywhere in the world, and everywhere in the world where it happened, the incumbent parties got, thrown out or took big losses. So it's not shocking. None of this is really a shock. You had inflation just pop up everywhere after the pandemic, and they'll try and point out, well, we recovered better. It wasn't as bad here as it was everywhere else. And it's like, well, that's not, people don't give a shit. People don't give a shit about any of that. They just go in there. They're like, things are more expensive now. Oh, who's in charge? It must be their fault. And maybe if we change to somebody else, it'll be better. It is. They have no fucking idea why things are more expensive. They don't give a fuck. It's just, oh, my life sucks now. I'm going to vote for change. It doesn't fucking matter. They're just changing back to, 4 years ago when all of this shit got started. But whatever. I'm curious to see who he's going to pick for the cabinet. That'll tell us a lot about how bad or, moderately less bad this is going to be for 4 years, and how what's in store for the future. But I was pretty black-pilled a long time ago. After I realized, like, okay, well, the Democrats are unsalvageable, basically. And at this point, like, after he won the primary again, it was like, well, the Republicans are too. And especially now, they oh my God, they think they found the magic recipe. That's what this is. And it's really fucking stupid. They're ignoring, like, the fact that the reasons why he won aren't the reasons that they think they are. I would say it's not that there was like this sudden mass awakening to all of the things that they have this idea that everyone, or millions, tens of millions of people over the past like couple of years have converted to become MAGA people. That's like what they fucking think. That they see the world the way we do now. They see all the truth. They know that they've been lied to by the media and all these people, and this is them throwing them out, and we're going to destroy the deep state because that's what everybody wants us to do, and we're going to do all this fucking. It's nuts. It's fucking crazy. Well, these people need to look into they're in a bubble. They don't realize that normies do not, in fact, see the world like them. Normies don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. If they were going to try and have a conversation with a normie, and it's like a MAGA guy, they don't know what the fuck the DC Uni Party is, the DC Uniparty. Nobody fucking knows what that is. They don't know what the fucking deep state is. They don't know about any of this fucking shit they're talking about. Oh, or the shit with RFK. Are you kidding me? Crazy nonsense about like vaccines and food dyes, and yellow dye number 5 is killing everybody. Okay, we got to get the fluoride out of the water. It's really something he says, by the way. I know that's a meme, like the fluoride in the water. That's a real thing. That is a real conspiracy thing. Like that guy from oh god, do I have that clip? Probably not. I'm not gonna find it. Dr. Strangelove, the fucking crazy guy, and one of the crazy guys, the guy that went nuts and like took over a military base and wanted to, launch the nukes at Russia and stuff. It's like, it's fluoride, Mandrake. It's draining our natural our bodily fluids or something. It's fucking funny. It's just that people are sheep and they blame the people in power. Yeah. Anyway, that's enough of that. How long have I been going on for this? Like 35 minutes? All right. Maybe I'll do some more once we actually see what the cabinet picks are. Some more of them. But anyway, have a great night, everybody.